Good morning. We're back on the road again. It's quite interesting after being quite cold for the last number of weeks, at night at least, with the furnace running. We're down in Ohio here, and it was quite warm last night. We actually had the windows open, and it was still pretty warm in the motorhome. So nice change. Very wet this morning. We got a bunch of rain last night. It's still raining today. It's supposed to rain all day, and I think for the next couple of days. But it's still nice and pleasantly warm. We're about an hour from the Ark right now, in I believe southern Ohio, and we should be crossing into Kentucky. Let's see here, in about half hour, 40 minutes, something like that. We'll be in Kentucky, and then at the Ark. So got an early start for once. A lot of times we sleep in. Well, sleep in. It just takes us a while to get going, but we got going a little earlier today so that we can get to the Ark on time. If all goes well, we're hoping. I thought the Ark was north and then the Creation Museum was farther south, so I was going to skip the Creation Museum, but it turns out the Ark is the south one, and we'll be able to catch the Creation Museum on our way back up to Canada. So that would be great. That would be two birds, one stone. So if we get there early enough, we should be able to get both done in one day and still get kind of heading back towards home today. We won't be back with today's Saturday, so yeah, we'll have to drive all day tomorrow yet before we actually get back up there again, but it should all work out. So not a whole lot to see this morning so far, but it is rainy and warm, very warm. $20? Oh, it's American, of course. I was gonna get. Thank you very much. And that's for the Ark Encounter. Extremely busy here. I don't think they had tickets and lineups when Noah was boarding the Ark. There's an awful lot of people here checking out. This is the off season, so kind of interesting. All right, we got loads of buses. We made it through the other stuff. Pretty good security in there. You got to check all your bags and stuff. Now we load onto these buses somehow. Oh yeah, bus ride. You think Noah had buses to load everything up? Cattle cars? No. Oh, pretty neat so far. Apparently over 1 million people come through here in a year, so that's a significant amount of people. It's way out in the middle of nowhere from where you pay for your tickets. You take quite a bus ride to get in here. To go through the rainbow, and this is the actual meaning of the rainbow. Unfortunately, perversion has used this same rainbow as a symbol for their perversions. The very one of the very reasons the earth was destroyed in the first place. That there is a symbol that God will never again destroy the world. That's what it really means. Pretend to be Noah and his wife. Man, that thing's huge. Yeah, I'm pretty happy that we decided to go and do this anyway. Always wanted to see this. Storm clouds are brewing. At Noah's time, that probably was for the first time ever, since there's no evidence there was rain prior to the flood. That is insanely huge. And does that ever put it into perspective?
Can you imagine? Like, can you just imagine him building?
No. Well, it took them about 100 years, didn't it? I believe. For some reason, they don't need you to walk through this big maze back and forth until you're good and dizzy before you get in the boat.
Okay, so we have to go through all this zigzagging. I'm starting to wonder if this is actually as good as they say, or whether we're just wasting our effort. Still have to go up, zigzag, zigzag, zigzag.
Success! We made it through! I don't know what that... Probably very busy here normally, I guess, somewhere for people to line up. You'd think when it's not busy they would open a gate or something. Up and up we go! So I think this would be a lot more enjoyable if there was no one else here. It's insanely noisy and full of people. Cage is built for animals. Catch the poop, slide her down. Yeah, isn't that something? Thick wood. Yeah. I think at all these pots, it's pretty neat. They sound like plastic. Bags of feed. The lighting in here is terrible. It's very yellowy looking, but it's because of all these. They're trying to make it look like candlelight, right? Loads and loads of different food. Hey, let's go over there to the bigger animals. Oh, there's some here too.
They're already stretching their
I could do without all the people. It's crazy busy, and this is the off season. Well, it goes all year round, but this is obviously the slower time of year. But it's pretty busy.
Look at all the pots that they have for water. They have other things for water.
These are really cool. The feeders and the water.
this would have definitely allowed ventilation, all the hot, stinky air to come out of each level and rise to the top. Makes a lot of sense, actually. Considering how wide it is, this is the actual proportions, which I believe it is. I forget now how wide it was. I'd have to look at my Bible now. But that would easily allow the heat to escape and get up. So of course we don't actually know what was in the Ark or how it was laid out, but this is one idea, that in these clay pots they could have kept things like lizards. And I believe lizards, when it's cool enough, kind of go dormant, but I could be wrong on that. So they'd have ways of watering them, feeding them, and just keep them under a burlap bag so they can breathe. And you could fit a lot of critters just like that. Over here we got a bear. No idea what's in that one. Or oh, there's a deer in there, I think. Anyway, you get the idea. Two of each kind. Bats. Why there's so many, I don't know. Different kinds of bats, maybe?
This is a bat pen?
Yeah, I guess. Living together. Alright, we're heading up to level 2. It's phenomenal how much room's in here. A lot of people, if you don't study it, or the types of animals, people are like, well, it's unrealistic, you can't fit them all. But people don't realize you don't need to fit them all. Right? Like even among modern history, as far as cattle is concerned, like a Holstein cow was very, very new. There was no Holsteins on the Ark, right? You needed one type of cow, and slowly but surely you breed new breeds. So all the cows you see today could all be lumped together into one kind, you know, and you didn't need very many of them then. You don't need dogs per se. You don't have one of each kind of dog. You just need 2 dogs. And in the DNA of those dogs is the all the different breeds that we have today. So, and the same thing goes for cats and all sorts of different things. So that really narrows it down to a very few amount of animals, and easily fits them. So yeah, it's very neat. And even supplies, we were like, well, how would they carry that much food? There's no way, it can't be possible. Well, again, once you reduce the amount of animals needed to be in the Ark, you also reduce the amount of food. And if you bring all babies along, then that again reduces the amount of food. You don't have to bring a full-grown adult. You can just bring a immature infant animal, and then your consumption of food goes way down, and also the amount of manure coming back out would go way down as well. So very interesting. I'm kind of disappointed in how commercialized it is. I mean, I understand that obviously everybody else wants to see it too, but it does take away from, you know, it was just a wooden boat. It didn't have all this glitz and glamour in it, I guess, and there's just so many people in here, and this non-stop music playing. You know, there would have been animal noises and banging and thumping from the waves maybe, and animal hooves. You know, it's just constantly noisy. It's very noisy in here. And if you haven't noticed, we have a recurring theme. We don't really like people that much. We kind of like being isolated and being just in quiet in nature. So, but it's still beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It's well worth every minute. It's amazing, and it's an imprint that'll be in your brain forever. No telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights. Won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know, if I'll ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. Pardon?
What do you think they did with the boat after?
Probably lived in it for a little while. And then abandoned it. Hey?
Yeah, a lot of space.
Yep, they probably abandoned it, and it's probably still around. There's a guy that believes he found it in Turkey. It looks like the Ark, same size.
I just can't help but think that in Noah's day there wasn't this much noise and ruckus, and how peaceful and quiet, and we've had this many discussions time and time again about how we feel so disconnected. Like, you know, there's no connection anymore between us and God, and we wonder why, and we're like, well, it's probably because all the hustle and the bustle and the noise, and we just can't hear, right, Him talking to us or communicating with us. And here's another example that we're at, like, something that's supposed to be you know, history of him. Noisy. Like the people is one thing, but it's like the music, the background music is just so deafening. It's like we're all fighting about headaches and just so much noise. You probably can hear that in here.
God said he was going to wipe out all flesh that lived on earth. If he was speaking only of a local flood, it seems like God would have told me to move instead of spending decades building this ark. Plus,
woodworking room, fix stuff, blacksmith stuff, again for fixing things. It's all possible on the boat. Funny, we're still on the second deck, maybe halfway through it, and we're all like, okay, we're ready to go. It's just because it's so busy. Like, I'm just walking at a snail's pace here. People everywhere, running the wrong direction, the right direction. It's just a zoo of people. All right, we're making our way up to deck number 3. Pretty neat. It is well laid out, well thought out. Anyway, well thought out, and they have like any question you would have as far as like, well, how would they fix stuff, or how would they haul their waste out, or how would they get enough air, or how would they store, you know, they've tried to cover all of the bases and with factual information, so it's pretty neat. All right, a little bit more breathing room on the third deck. People are spread out a little further. So this is suggesting where they would have lived. Alright, they each have their own private quarters. And then I'm assuming eating in common as a family. Storeroom. We got a good supply of onions by the looks of it. Again, also assuming we know what they ate, we actually really don't know where they built the boat, and therefore also not what kind of vegetation was available. Uh-oh, getting one escaped bird. Yeah. That's neat, eh? Very cool. So much to look at. So anyway, I've had a theory for years about the Ice Age, which I believe is biblical worldview theory. Or not worldview, a biblical theory. Basically how when it rains, it doesn't rain in the North Pole and the South Pole, it snows. And when you have snow accumulated on top of snow, it ends up turning into a glacier from the sheer weight of it. So if you would have had it raining for 40 days, or longer now, I forget exactly how long it rained, I have to read the story again. But anyway, it would accumulate it as a massive, massive sheets of ice, which is where your Ice Age comes from and covers a good chunk of the world, right? And we also see evidence of it happening over a very short amount of time, because there's literally, they find animals still on their feet frozen in the ice. And that's not something that happens over millions of years. That's something that happens very quickly. The snow came down so fast that the animal could no longer walk. It got stuck in the snow, and then it got covered up in snow, and that's where it died and froze. So anyway, it's interesting. And there they have that listed in here as well. So it's interesting how many people you talk to and you try to explain some of those things, and they're like, oh no, that can't be, that can't be. And why can't it be? Even now, it doesn't rain at the North Pole. I don't know if it's ever rained at the North Pole. It snows. Trees they find standing straight up still in the ice. Animals, lots of evidence for a flood. So they got all sorts of exhibits here, all trying to basically back up. Oh, this one here I really wanted to see it. This one talks about all the different legends of the flood. And I know that all cultures around the world have a flood story. So it's pretty interesting. I don't know them all. The closest one to ours would be from the Sumerian texts. And you can see that right here. Sumerian. And they have a flood story that's almost identical to ours, except it's older. The Epic of Gilgamesh is part of the Sumerian text as well. You can see Gilgamesh there. Anyway, in theirs it's a square box though, and square boxes don't float too well. Ours is proportionately the only one that'll work. Some of the Native American legends, they climbed on the back of a giant sea turtle, and that's how they survived the flood. But all around the world, these cultures all share one thing in common, that there was a global flood that wiped out everything. So, interesting, undeniably. So here's the one from the Epic of Gilgamesh. This is their depiction of an ark. It's a cube, which is not seaworthy at all. Okay, and here's some other tale. I mean, there's a large canoe. You're not going to fit all the animals in the world in there. This thing here, I mean, a big wave would just swamp that thing. There's nothing going to survive on that, right? This one too.
Look at the parallel guy. Look at how big that is.
This one, on the other hand, though, is to scale. If you use these same dimensions today in a boat, it will sail.
Look at it. Look at how big the guy is.
Yeah.
Huge.
Alright, we're heading back down. Obviously we did not show you everything. This is huge, and you could literally spend a couple of days in here if you want to read everything. I think you could anyway, and take your time through it. As a parent with 8 little children, I do not like being in crowds this big. It's hard to keep an eye on your kids and keep everybody safe, and yeah, it's just busy. But it's beautiful. I came here for the wooden structures, the pillars, the posts, the beams, just to get it in your head, you know, how magnificent it is. And I'm hoping it leaves a lasting impression. I think it will. It'll leave a lasting impression in the minds of the children. That's very important to us as well. So hopefully they will remember it forever. And every time we read the story of the flood, they'll remember being here.
Let's see it.
Yeah, the boat with the rainbow on it.
Very cool. Don't lose it.
How many more people need one?
Ariana and Cora.
One final addition. We can move very comfortably and a lot less stressed downwards. So I was just suggesting that if you're going to check this out, try to take the elevator up to the top and work your way backwards. And you may end up being a lot more comfortable and a little less crowded with people, if they'll let you. I don't know if they'll let you or not. Just a little tip. Hey, I hope you guys all enjoyed the little video on this. We're going to make our way to the Creation Museum next, and we'll put that in a separate video, so be sure to check out for that one. We'll catch you guys all in the next video. Thanks again for watching and for all your support. And if you're interested in supporting our channel anyway, please like, share. That's the best support you can give. Like it, share it, and subscribe. Talk to you guys all later.
Hey, darling, can I tell you what's been on my mind? Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey, darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday